Holzman, and this is Confessions of an SEO. If you're new, Confessions runs a little counterintuitive. And for those that know me, that's not out of character. But here in a Confessions, expect me to unpack my experience as an SEO for the past 17 years. You may want to brace yourself for some of the least obvious SEO podcast on the planet. It is in here. You just sometimes gotta get quiet in your head to be able to hear it. Now, this podcast is a short form, one-way chat about anything and everything in SEO that is not overtly some trick or hack or promising you some trick or hack to get to the number one spot or 5x your traffic or double your revenue. Now, it's not that what I share won't get you there. I just don't believe that getting to page one has anything to do with hacks or tricks to overtly get you there. You know, to be a well-rounded SEO and handle and be resilient for the things that we meet, we need a more broad understanding of search engines and these updates, especially when it comes to helpful content. You should expect plain talk with no engineering mumbo-jumbo and for our time together to be around 15 minutes. We've all got to work, and this SEO work won't get done by itself. I'd like to thank Ahrefs for being the sponsor for this episode. Welcome to Season 5, Episode 18 of Confessions of an SEO. I hope you guys liked last week's episode in which I shared my accidental test on what happens to your index content when you have a 404 sitemap. That means the page doesn't exist, but you have a URL in your sitemap saying it does. And you put that sitemap in your robots text file. So even if you're submitting real ones in Search Console, it is not a good thing. The index page count, by the way, increased another 10 pages since that massive jump that I reported from 1 to 57. If you need to catch up on last week, it's just 15 minutes away. The link's in the description, and I hope you enjoy it. So this week, I thought it time to introduce you to a Google crawler that at first seems kind of creepy. And before I get there, it's time for the Ahrefs Spotlight. Ahrefs is Confessions of an SEO official sponsor. And this week, we're going to look at Ahrefs Web Analytics. It's absolutely free to use on your sites. You get free webmaster tools and website analytics, plus technical audit and SEO metrics for your verified sites. Now, about the analytics, it's privacy friendly. It is limited to a single device, a single website, and a single day, and it includes 1 million free events every month for every website. Now, I'm enjoying it on one of my sites, and between that and the webmaster tools, I'm finding it saves me a lot of time from looking for issues. That's kind of every forensic SEO's dream, right? Let the tools do the obvious so that you can free yourself up for the things that actually do require your SEO brain. Now, I do want to mention this. It's real time. It's not like the 2-day delay in G4. It is up to the moment and clearly not by sampling. The data that you're getting from their analytics, it's from your site. You know, there's a script on there that pings every time someone comes in. So if you're looking for third-party analytics, not only is this a great option, it's a free option. Now, with no further ado, I'd like to introduce you to GoogleOther, but the GoogleOther that comes with a Chrome build. Now, I've been watching this bot for a year. In fact, May 3rd, 2024 is the first time I saw it on one of my test sites. Now, there is another Google crawler that's been around for a long time, but it does not have a Chrome build. It just, has the words GoogleOther. That's the start and end of that crawler name. So, and we've all seen that for a while, but no one really says what it does. So I did my best, which is what I like to say, I think it's my best, is I start a stakeout, on this bot. And it wasn't until last fall that I had a client who had something more akin to a news site. than a business services marketing site. And I got to truly see into the eyes of this GoogleOther crawler, but the one with the Chrome. And it's good. But, why such a creepy feeling, from this crawler to begin with? So I was giving that some thought, and I thought, well, what does Google say they do it for? Well, GoogleOther is considered to be Google's helper crawler, and it visits websites, gathers information for Google research teams and special projects, whatever those may be. And because they have this GoogleOther, this is what leaves the main Googlebot free to focus on building the search index and helping people find your content. Okay. So this is kind of like, great. I know what Google says, it's great that for special projects and research teams, they don't overwhelm that main bot, but it really doesn't tell us exactly why we see visits. So you can see why I think I understand that vaguely creepy feel to it. And that's for the one that just says Googlebot, right? But the one with the Chrome build, well, today is our lucky day. So if you're ready, here is the baby. GoogleOther with Chrome is like a harbinger of getting into the crawling system for the chance of getting indexed. Did you catch that? It's a harbinger. It comes before the actual event. It's not part of the indexation system, but it seems to be like a ball machine that pitches a URL into the crawler system without you having to necessarily use one of your 10 a day Search Console requests. So I guess it could be why you shouldn't worry if you do use all of them up. There's a system in place. Now, Search Console has some additional great information in it. And I found this crawl report, or crawl stats is what they call it. And you can too. If you're in Search Console, this is where your website is hooked into Google's system so you can get feedback on your site. So you just go into the settings. It's on the left-hand side. You scroll down a ways and you'll see it. And once you click on it, then you'll see on that page, there'll be a section that says crawl stats. Now you click on that window and you're in this wonderland of data. So you're going to scroll down a little bit. You'll see 4 panels of data and look for the one that says by Googlebot type. So that's a crawl data by Googlebot type. And in there, you may see one of those Googlebot types says other agent type. And that's it. GoogleOther is other agent type. So how did I come to this understanding? Because a lot of times I present things and people think I pull it out of thin air or my ass. But remember, I had a client that had the news site. And these were new domains. And I was tasked with keeping a watchful eye on the introduction of those 2 domains to Google's indexation system. One was launched in 1 month, and one was launched in another month. Now, the first one launched in September 2024, and 30 new pages of content were published that month. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 30. Coincidentally, there were 30 crawls by the GoogleOther with Chrome of each of those pages. There was 1 crawl for each new page. There were 2 other GoogleOther crawls, but that was the one without Chrome, and the only thing it crawled was the homepage. So for content, 30 for 30 sounds too good to be true, right? But it truly lined up with a 1-to-1 ratio. Now, this is where it gets kind of interesting. Shortly after each page was crawled by the Chrome GoogleOther, the Google Fetcher and the mobile Googlebots showed up, and they render crawled both HTML and JavaScript. Woohoo! So that was interesting. Now, GoogleOther was not directly involved in the indexing crawls, but clearly the Chrome GoogleOther is portends about what's going to happen next when new sites are discovered and their new content is found. Okay, but that's just one site. So since they had another one that launched the next month, I looked at the second site. Now, I decided to go for a longer time frame. Instead of the first 30 days, I went for the entire fourth quarter. And I wanted to basically kind of look at a larger data set because most of November was eaten up with a core update by Google, followed by a couple other updates. So basically, within those 3 months, 241 pages were published, and there were 147 GoogleOther Chrome crawls. Now, in that particular situation, I did a little digging because I wanted to see, what other factors might be in play that would show me more pages published than GoogleOther Chrome crawls. And so the client's hosting platform, apparently it had a little blip, which resulted in a drop-off of the GoogleOther with the Chrome crawls for a period of time, and then it resumed. Now, I cannot say which part of that drop-off was the result of the hosting freakout or the update. Well, like a true tester, you keep going. So I took a look at the same site again, but I thought rather than avoid an update, let me look at an update. So I started looking at March 2024. Now, during that March core update, GoogleOther with the Chrome exclusively crawled all the sitemaps and only the sitemaps. There were no content pages crawled during the March core update. Okay. I've always said that Google's natural discovery during an update is slowed down. And maybe that sort of change of the GoogleOther with Chrome crawls, maybe that's the mechanism of how Google's able to achieve that. If you restrict the GoogleOther, the one that comes with Chrome, to only sitemaps and no content, that's kind of interesting when you know that also during an update, natural discovery is slowed down. So what about that same site now after the update? And so I took a look at the 30 days after the update was declared complete by Google. During those 30 days, 25 pieces were published, and there were 25 GoogleOther crawls. GoogleOther with Chrome crawls. Now, I'm just spitballing here, but that sure doesn't seem to be random. So, like GoogleOther with Chrome, it's not just neutral. It seems to be friendly. And I say that, I'm reminded of when I was in school, we had a program where one of the local police officers at the school, and we were we didn't know their name, but we were able to call her Officer Friendly. Now, this bot is kind of like that. GoogleOther friendly. And it appears that its behavior changes during updates. And that's kind of an interesting find. And I sure hope if someone is out there with a new site, when they launch it, Google declares a core update right after they hit submit in Search Console. I hope their next step is to grab some server logs and look at only the GoogleOther crawls. And then I hope they email me at confessions of, dang it, that's supposed to be an email, confessions@confessionsofanseo.com. Now, meanwhile, let's just remember, freak thyself out not, if thou doth see the GoogleOther bot. That's it for me this week. Thank you for being a listener. Thank you to Ahrefs for being the sponsor of this episode. Check out the link in the description and start getting your real-time Ahrefs web analytics. Check out Indexzilla. It's my indexing platform to get content and backlinks indexed. You can find it at indexzilla.io. And if you have questions about your site and you need to get a fresh take on why things are happening or why are they not happening as they should, reach out on either Facebook or LinkedIn. Look for me. To stay on the cutting edge of the state of indexing, check out Crawl or No Crawl on Substack. You can find it by searching for Crawl or No Crawl, and you will see in Google it has its own knowledge graph. See you next week for more SEO conversations, observations, and testing stories. And if you have questions about today's topic, reach out and text your question to confessions at 512-222-3132. Thanks again, and until next week, I'll see you in the SERPs.